What's up? Welcome to episode 13 of Jar Sports Takes. It's been a long, long time since my last video, and a lot has happened for the Dallas Cowboys since then. So let's talk about it. The past 2 weeks, coming off big W's against the Buccaneers and the Panthers. Panthers, prior to us playing them, they were on a 4-game win streak, very hot. They came into Dallas, and we surprised a lot of people. No one thought we were going to be able to win that football game, and we ended up winning in prime time on Sunday night. And then prior to that, we beat the Panthers, who were playing very well before they played us. We're in 5 one-score games, won a couple of them, played the Eagles very well, and then, we beat them. Walked into Carolina, took an easy W, and walked out. And it's been about a month since my last video after we beat the Giants on Thanksgiving. So, as I said, a lot has changed since. Rico right now is on pace for 1,000 yards, 100 yards this week. He's going to surpass that 1,000-yard mark without even, starting more than 3 quarters of the season. Since Parsons came back in week 10, he's been playing phenomenal. We're leading the league in sacks, we're leading the league in takeaways with 15. And it finally looks like Mike Zimmer's defense is what it was supposed to be in the beginning of the season. As everyone said, it was going to take time, and then, it's proved to take time, even with however many injuries we've had throughout the season. And just as today, CD was shut down, sadly, especially sadly for my fantasy championship this week. 2 different quarterbacks, obviously, playing great regardless. It's going to be an all-pro nod. Another phenomenal season by him, just cut short because of that shoulder injury. Rush has looked a lot better since his first few weeks back in the starting lineup. He looks like he's more mobile in the pocket. He's making better reads. He's moving the ball down the field. He does look a lot different than he did when he first started and took over for Dak. Our offensive line continues to impress me with Zach Martin being out. It's a rotating door. Guys like Hoffman, guys like TJ Bass have continued to, impress me and be a decent offensive line throughout this, this final stretch of the season. And one guy that has finally got, some league-wide recognition is Jordan Lewis, our nickel corner. Hasn't been talked about a lot in his career, but he's been one of the guys that have been a staple on our defense for some time now. He's been solid week in and week out for the past however many years he's been drafted. He comes every week. He brings a tough attitude. He's just one of the guys that you want to have on your defense. And I pray that we re-sign him this offseason, that he's back as a Dallas Cowboy. On the season, he has had 34 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception this past week, which was an absolutely insane takeaway on McMillan in the end zone, and then 7 pass deflections. He's just been playing great, especially with the rotating door at corner. He's been one guy that's been able to stay mostly healthy for throughout the season, and, been able to perform week in and week out. And even with the season not going how everyone wanted it to in the building, fan-wise, everywhere, this team continues to fight. They've had a lot of fight in them. They haven't gave up on any games. Even though there's nothing to play for right now, playoff wise, they're still playing hard week in and week out. And that's kind of what you want to see in the locker room too. Guys just not giving up. But that leads me to my next point. Probably the biggest news of all. It's definitely looking like Mike McCarthy might have an extension and will be back for the next few seasons. Like I said, these guys have fought. If you don't like your coach, you're not going to fight for him to the very end. And that's the opposite of what these Dallas Cowboys have been doing. And, that says something about a coach. That means they like him in the locker room. They want to play for him. They want him to keep his job and continue to be the leader in that locker room. Jerry Jones looks happy after winning. He's clapping and everything, even though we didn't make the playoffs and have underperformed throughout this whole season. Dak loves him. He's co-signed him so many times in the past. So it just looks like, as of now, currently on December 27th, that he will be the guy going into next year. There's a lot of different angles to look at this right now, because you can look at it from the positive side, you can look at it from the negative side, him not being able to, get over that hump each and every season. Then you can look at, his first season in 2020 and then this season in 2024 just completely underperforming and just not looking like a great football team. For one, I'll say I've heard it been said, who's a better guy out there? What guy are you going to go out currently this offseason and going to be a better coach than McCarthy, and that has a pedigree of, Super Bowl win, playoff wins? It's just not likely to happen. Belichick's at UNC now. I like Vrabel, but I don't think he'll go to Dallas. That just hasn't been in the conversation as of right now. And probably the most sought-out head coach this offseason is going to be Detroit's OC, Ben Johnson, and allegedly he wants to have full control. He wants to be in the GM room. He wants to, have control over his team, and we know that is not going to happen with Jerry there. So it's just highly likely that would happen. And going to a place like Dallas as your first head coaching opportunity, it's just not a good fit personally. I wouldn't want to go there as a head coach with all the media, all the scrutiny that he's going to get. Just it doesn't look great. And then number two, we've dealt with so many injuries this season. What would the season look like if guys stayed healthy like Dak, D-Law, Diggs, Bland was here the whole season? Like, I fully believe this is a wild card team. If not, we're compete for the NFC East title. But, injuries are part of the game. It's going to happen. But does Jerry say, okay, a lot of guys got injured, give him an extension, see what he can do with the next few years? And if he does get an extension, I'm assuming it's going to be at least 3 years minimum. I wouldn't expect anything more. If they do decide to run this back, things need to change this offseason. Like they can't have the same offseason they had prior last season where they go out, a couple weeks in and get Eric Kendricks and, call it a day until training camp. That cannot happen. They need to extend Parsons immediately. They need to work out a deal with Odighizuwa, and they need to go out on free agency and be active. Like they need to get a D lineman. I know Mozzie Smith's been playing better, which is a great sign, but need to get better there. Need to get better in the receiver room. Got to look at our running back, even if you do decide to draft one. Obviously, linemen, just all over the board. Every position you can say you can get better at. And they just need to try to get guys in free agency before the draft, really shape this team before that comes. Because I'm not fully against the idea of McCarthy coming back. If the guys like him that much and they want to fight for him, I mean, that says a lot. It says more than Jerry saying it or one of the front office guys saying it about him. You know, if the guys in the locker room that play under him want to fight this bad, want him to keep his job, I mean, why not then? I do think these last two games will mean a lot if he does get an extension from Jerry. If we lose these next two games, get blown out, I mean, I'm at a different talking point next time I come on, in a few weeks about this conversation. But if they play both teams well, maybe win a game, maybe win both, I fully believe he'll be back. And, that's a positive sign in Jerry's eyes that he could come out, ruin two playoff teams, seedings, playoff aspirations potentially in Washington. So, and that leads me to Sunday's matchup against Philly. It got flexed out of the 4:25 window into the 1 o'clock window. Hurts just got announced out not too long ago, so it's going to be a battle of the backups in Philly. And who would have thought that, this game would be meaningless for Dallas at this point in the season while, Philly's fighting for a number two seed and try to hold on to the NFC East title. And if you know me or if you've seen any of my videos before, I'm from the Philly area. So obviously, huge Cowboy fan. I want to win this week regardless. They already messed the draft stock position up for me a long time ago. So if we get another win, I mean, go 2 spots up. It's really not making much of a difference to get them high tier guys in the draft. And I do think they can win. Micah talked about it a few weeks ago. He wants to beat Philly. He said F Philly. So I'm looking for these guys to come out like they have the past 2 weeks and try to win a football game. And Kenny Pickett isn't the greatest quarterback in the world. I don't think he was a great coming out the draft. I didn't think he was great in Pittsburgh. I said that from the jump. All my Steelers friends told me, no, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the franchise guy. And if we do win this game and Washington wins on Sunday night, that last week of the season, the Philly has to play. They can't rest their starters. They got to try to beat the Giants. And what other team would the Giants want to beat to ruin their NFC East title hopes than the Eagles? So it could definitely get interesting this week. Last time it was Russia's first game back starting. We lost 34-6, but this is a completely different team than it was last game. And right now the spread's at 7. It was 7.5 this morning. So the fact that it's this high is kind of crazy to me because I think it will be a close game even if we don't win. I definitely think they'll cover 7. It's crazy to me that they think Saquon will run all over us where we, held him in check for the most part last time. So yeah, that's a crazy line to me. I don't know why it's like that. But yeah, 2 weeks left in this season, and then Cowboys football is over until, September. So got to enjoy while they play. 120 minutes left. Got to enjoy every single second of it. All I can ask for is to be entertained these last 2 weeks, and that's it. And to wrap it up, not on too much, Cowboys news, but, MVP talks. If Lamar Jackson wins this MVP this season, Dak was skimped last year because there is no reason that Lamar has similar stats this year than Dak had last year, passing wise. So like Lamar this year was Dak last year, and Josh Allen this year is Lamar last year. So right now Josh Allen is the favorite to win, but I think there's a high chance Lamar gets this one too. Last year Dak finished with 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions, compared to Lamar's 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. This year Lamar went crazy passing wise. He's going to surpass 4,000 yards this season. He has 39 passing touchdowns and 4 picks, which is absolutely insane. Like, those are great, phenomenal numbers. Josh Allen, on the other hand, 3,500 yards right now, 26 passing touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So he has 11 touchdowns on the ground, a lot coming from 1 yard or less. The Jalen Hurts Mickey Mouse touchdowns, as I would call it, and then 500 yards rushing too. So, like I said, it would be kind of like flipping it as last year. So if Josh Allen wins, cool. that means they stand on what they stand on, like they did last year. But if Lamar wins it this year because of better passing stats, and Dak didn't win last year because of passing stats, I'm gonna be kind of tight about it because I said all last year Dak is gonna be MVP, and then he comes second in voting. So I feel some type of way about that. Last 2 weeks of football, gotta enjoy it. Appreciate if you watch this far. Good luck in y'all fantasy championships if y'all in it. I'm in one. Pray I win it. Appreciate if you got this far. Like, subscribe, comment, share it if you can. Appreciate you watching.